Hi friends, welcome back to our channel Total QA. In our channel, we posted multiple videos and categorized into different playlists. Kindly go through all the videos and try to get acquired knowledge. These videos are mainly in terms of real-time concepts. We have kept all the points here. So please try to go through these videos and get the required knowledge. This will be helpful for you to clear the interviews as well. So now, in today's topic, we're going to discuss about how are we going to use synchronized method in Java. So let's start the topic now. Synchronized method. So what is the advantage of synchronized method in Java? Before getting into this topic, let's try to understand the real-time concept here. So mainly in Java it is mainly about objects, right? And Java is a object-oriented programming language. Let's take an object here. There's an object which is a D1, and there is a method inside this class display values. There's a method display available, and D1 is an object. D1 is an object which will helpful for us to call this method. To call this method, D1 is an object which is available. Now, suppose there is a class 1 and there is another class which is class 2 available here. The class 1 and a class 2 available here. Class 1, class 2, and there is a D1 object is available. If suppose the class 1 is trying to call display method string and it is passing selenium to display. Class 1 is passing the value selenium to display, and class 2 also calling display method to display Java as a value to display. Then how the display method will print the values, because two classes, mainly class 1 is trying to acquire the lock on the method display, and class 2 also trying to acquire the lock on the method display, the D1 object of the display. Then which class it will try to print the value? Whether class 1 it is trying to print selenium, class 2 is trying to print Java. So what will happen in this case? Let's look into this example now. Let's simulate the same concept. We will create three different classes: class 1, class 2, and display values. Will create three different classes and try to simulate this example now and see how it behaves if you don't use synchronized concept and try to display the values. And also here we are trying to extend the thread class, because in real time always you have to do multitasking. In the case of multitasking, you will be having multi-threads, and each and every thread is nothing but a process in execution we call as a thread. So one thread is doing one activity and another thread is trying to do another activity. So two threads are trying to display the values now. What will happen? Let's see the example now. Let's get into the program now. Let me open Eclipse now. I'm going to create three classes now. Let me create one package now. Right click on SRC, just select new, say package. This is mainly for total QA dot synchronized concept. Okay, let's try to put synchronized example, finish. Because synchronized, it's already a keyword. We cannot give the synchronized as a keyword. We cannot provide it for the package name. Let's create one class name here. I just create one class here. The class is class 1. And similarly, I create one more class, class 2, new class 2. Let's keep these two classes side by side and start writing the program now. As I mentioned, class 1 and class 2 extends the thread class, extends the thread class, extends thread. Okay, and we will be having one constructor in the class 2, public class 2. What is a constructor? A constructor is nothing but the same name as a class name, which it takes two parameters. Those two parameters we will write it down, but let's have a constructor here. Let's have a constructor here also. Now let's create one more class, display values. Right click in the package, select the class as display values, and under the display values we will try to create a method. What is the method does? Public void display, and it takes a string. And it will try to print the string 5 times. I is equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus. Then I will print the name. Whatever we are trying to pass, the name. Let's try to print name. So in this class, there's a method available. The method is trying to print the name 5 times. And also we will do one thing. After printing one time, we will put some delay to increment and print the second one. Just put some delay to understand what's happening. The background quick fix. Let's try to put try catch, or else do one thing. Let's try to put throws, because whenever you use thread.sleep, it will always ask you to put either throws or try catch. Let's select throws here. Now we have class 1, we have class 2, we have display values. Now let's try to write the content within the class 1. So what is the content we'll write in the class 1 is, let's try to pass two parameter values. One parameter value is like display values. Let's create one object only. Don't create multiple objects. Let's create one object. Say display values d1, and we pass d1 display values d1, comma, let's pass a string name, and we create these two variables here, string name, and we are trying to store these values. We're storing these values using this d1 equal to d1 and this dot name equal to name. So what is happening here is, this is a constructor. Whenever we create an object of the class 1, we pass two parameters. One is the d1 object, one is the parameter name string parameter will pass, and we will try to associate these two values for the local variables. Same thing we do here also. Same thing, we create two variables. One is a display, the value is d1, and this will take two arguments. Let me try to copy this. Takes two arguments, because let me copy this and try to put it here. Okay, so both the classes are having two constructors. One class is having class 2, one class is having class 1, which takes two parameters. Now, as I said, whenever you have a thread as a class, we have to override the run method, public void run method. Let's try to override this. The run method, I'm also overriding the run method here. In the run method, as we got the d1 as an object, d1 dot display name, let's give in the class 2 Java. Similarly, in the class 1, give Selenium. So what is happening here? We are creating an object of d1. We are not creating, we are getting this object d1 via a constructor. And let's try to put, we need to just put try catch, because we are calling a d1.display. display is throwing the interrupted exception. Let's put try catch. So what is the main point here is we have a constructor, we have a run method which is overridden, okay, and we are trying to call Selenium from class 1, Java from class 2, and this D1 object is we are getting this D1 object via a constructor. So how are we going to call this constructor? What is the object we are going to create? So now let's look into the main class now. The main class will call these two classes now. Let me create a main class. Let's say main class. Let's close all now. Close this one. Close class 1. Close display values. Let's observe carefully now. In the main class, what we do is we will try to create an object. Let's create an object of the D1 first. Display values D1. I'm creating only one object. And I create class C1 equal to new class. This is the class 1. We're creating class 1. And we are passing D1 comma, let's pass Selenium. Then class 2, C2 equal to new class 2, D1 comma Java. So what is happening in these two objects? When now we create these two objects, we are creating one D1 object and trying to pass the D1 object as an argument while calling and creating an object. It will call the constructor and it is going to use D1. Now the class 1, okay, so we will display the name, just display the name, whatever we pass we just display. Similarly in the class class 2, we just say the name. So let me rearrange and show you what's now. Class 1, class 2, class 1, class 2, and also we have display values. Let's display values here and also main class here. So if you observe these 4 classes here, what is happening? This main class, we are creating a D1 as an object, C1 as an object, and C2 as an object. While creating an object of C1, we're passing D1. So in all the 4 classes, we are creating an object of D1 only once. And what we do, when we try to create an object, this D1 will go to class 1. When you create an object of C2, this D1 will go to C2. Now we will say C1.start. To invoke the run method, we have to say start. We have to call start method C2.start. As we are calling C1 with D1 as an object and Selenium, and this run method in the C1, it is trying to call D1.displayName. And when you look into the display of name, it should print 5 times. So first it has to print Selenium 5 times. Then after that, it has to print Java. That is our objective. So let's try to select the main class. Right click on the main class, run as Java application. So what is happening? It is trying to print Selenium, Java, Java, Selenium. What is happening? Class 1, it is printing Selenium. In between, class 2 is trying to print, acquire the object of D1 and trying to print Java. So how do we avoid it? In order to avoid this, what we have to do here is we have to create this display method as synchronized. What happens if C1 is trying to print Selenium? C2 has to wait till it is released. The D1 object is released. The C2 object has to wait to acquire the lock of D1. Let's try to run this now to get an outcome now. Let's try to run and see the outcome. So first it is printing Selenium. Then once C1 is releasing the object of D1, then C2 will acquire the object of D1. So this is how you can manage multiple threads accessing an object. We can put synchronized methods. These synchronized methods will be called once one object is acquiring the lock of the method. Once that is completed and released, then second object can acquire the lock of the method. Otherwise, it will become a deadlock in real time because one object is trying to access and another object is also trying to access and waiting and trying to access the same resource. It will go for the deadlock. Once the one object is completed accessing this object and the methods, then after that, the other object will try to acquire the lock and get the advantage of accessing the method. So this is mainly about synchronization. So if you use threading concept, definitely we should be having synchronized methods so that we can try to avoid deadlock in real time. Only one class can acquire the lock of the object, another class has to wait till that object is getting released. So I hope you understand this concept very well. Please try to practice these examples. These examples will be posted in the TotalQA blog, totalqa.com blog. Refer to the examples, practice it. So if you like my video, please subscribe and share with your friends. Thanks for watching the video.